ENK says, Zach, how do you feel about Baker Mayfield being traded to Carolina? I personally think this is the worst possible outcome for him, and he would have been better off serving as a backup on a different team and signing with a good team next year. How say you? Carolina is an awful place for Baker to go. I don't trust their coaching staff. I think the team around him isn't as good. Here's a weird outside-the-box thought. Baker's bitter and emotional. He hates Cleveland now because they replaced him. But wouldn't Cleveland have been the best place for Baker to showcase what he can do? Baker's got 1 year left on his contract. At some point, let's assume Deshaun Watson gets suspended for a bunch of games next year. He can't start day one for Cleveland. So they need a day one starter in Cleveland. Okay. Baker could have had that opportunity. Baker could have stayed. By the way, in an offensive system he knows well, with a coaching staff who knows him, and players that are pretty good in Cleveland. Instead of having a pretty good opportunity in Cleveland, it seems like they're going to need him to play week 1. We're assuming Deshaun gets suspended. Baker didn't want that opportunity. He wanted to go somewhere else, Carolina, with worse teammates and worse coaches and an offense he's got to learn. I think Cleveland would have been a better opportunity for him to show what he can do for 1 year than Carolina will be. There's a possibility Baker stays in Cleveland. Let's say there is an alternate. I love alternate realities. That thought. There's branching paths, and let's say Baker had more humility, was less emotional, and not angry at the Browns. He's hurt. He's upset. They replaced me. That sucks. Hey, but I can put my ego aside and realize, you know what? If Cleveland needs me week 1, that's a pretty good opportunity. A lot better than Seattle or Carolina or being a backup somewhere else. I can play and show what I can do. And let's say Baker had stayed in Cleveland and done really, really well. I don't think no matter how well he does that you're going to ever supplant Deshaun Watson, who got $230 million. So at some point, Baker was going to lose his job to Deshaun Watson. But maybe he does well enough to catch another team's eye. Maybe the Giants are like, Daniel Jones isn't working. Baker stinking Mayfield's playing really well in Cleveland. We're going to trade for Baker. He's now our franchise quarterback. Here's my point. What I'm saying. Baker has 1 year left to try to literally save his career. If he plays well this fall, he's going to get a big opportunity, a big contract, and someone's going to want him. Nobody wants Baker right now. So what he should have done, in my opinion, is focus on where is the best place for me to showcase my talent, to show what I can do. I still think that place was actually Cleveland. I don't think Carolina is a good opportunity for Baker to show what he can do, but I think Baker wants to be the man. Baker wants a commitment and a team that says, you're the guy. And I transferred colleges when I was a college quarterback for the same reason. I had an ego problem. I wanted a coach to just hand me the keys to the car without really realizing I should earn it. And I remember I transferred from a college one time because I lost the starting quarterback job. And I was pissed. I thought I was the best quarterback. I to this day think I should have been the day one starting quarterback, and I was the best guy there. But you know what sucks? The guy that started over me got hurt in the first game. I could have played, and I could have had a great time, and instead I quit and transferred. And I didn't play that fall. And it's like, I was so short-sighted because I wanted a commitment from a team. I wanted to be the man more than I wanted to get on the field. Baker wanted to be the man more. That was his focus. He wanted to get on the field and have a team commit to him more than he wanted a good opportunity to play in a good situation. Does that logic track? It makes sense to me. Baker's best scenario would have been to go to Tampa, sit behind Tom effing Brady. When Tom Brady retires, you got Mike Evans, you got a good running back, you got a good offensive line, you got Chris Godwin. Baker put his desire to be wanted and to get on the field quickly ahead of his desire to be in a good situation with good teammates and good coaches around you. If I were Baker, I'd say, hey, I want you to cut me, pay me nothing. I'm going to go be Tom Brady's backup in Tampa. I'm going to bet on myself that I can sit behind Tom Brady, learn a lot, and then when he moves on, they're going to say, hey, Baker, you're the guy, and then I'm going to get a big contract because I've shown after a year there what I can do. That's radical thinking. And it's crazy to ask a guy to turn down $15 million. I'm not saying that is not insane. But what I'm saying is Baker made a decision to go with money, guaranteed money, and a team that wanted him to play rather than necessarily having the foresight to say, look, I got a year left on my contract. If I didn't do well this year, I'm not getting any more money. So what I really could do is focus on what situation allows me to best show my skill set. Having good teammates and good coaches in Cleveland would have been great for Baker's career. Having a year behind Tom Brady and then eventually throwing to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and having a good offensive line and a good defense, that's a good scenario for Baker. But he saw a bunch of obstacles that I think with really creative outside-the-box thinking he could have gotten around. And instead he's going to Carolina, which does not feel like a good opportunity for him. And frankly, it's going to be a really, really tough spot to win. And I believe Baker's on the last year of his contract. He's got a rookie contract. You get a 5-year deal when you're the number 1 overall pick. His 5th-year option was not picked up. So he's been in the league for 4 years. This is year 5 of his rookie contract. And if things don't go well in Carolina, you thought he wasn't wanted before. Not a single team wanted to trade for Baker. Cleveland literally is paying Baker $10.5 million to leave their franchise. Nobody wanted Baker. If Baker doesn't play well in Carolina, you're going to wish nobody wanted him the way they did this offseason, right? Like, no one's going to touch him with a 10-foot pole if Baker doesn't do well in Carolina. So it's a huge gamble for him, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but I know what I learned as a quarterback is you want good receivers. You want good coaches. You want a good offensive line. I don't know that he has any of that in Carolina, so my rambly answer is that I feel horrible about Baker going to Carolina, and I'm not excited about it at all.